periodically as it goes along, and the last notification is June 24th. So we should know before June 24th.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot of the year gone by then.
No, the way our budget works is from July to the end of June. So that will be just prior to the new budget year, which is,
Oh, so we got,
works great for us.
well, is there still money to be spent then?
Yes,
Okay.
there's what, about 400,000
$400,000?
in the roads budget for springtime, and that's scheduled right now to be used to finish in the chip sealing on Vista, plots 4 and 5, the seal coats on them, and 21?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And the yearly budget's like 1.2 or something for roads?
You're probably 2.2 for the general budget, and that's salaries and everything, so probably.
And that's all maintenance, not just roads?
Yeah,
Okay, so it's roads and water, basically.
and
Okay,
then the water.
No, water's separate.
okay,
Yeah.
just roads, 2.2.
That includes employee salaries and, I mean, everything, but.
Got it. Okay, that goes right into item number 4, the town budget updates. I don't know, other than the possibility of money coming in from the bill grant and the fact that we kind of went over the yearly budget and how much is quote unquote left to be spent, but probably a better way of saying it might be, it's left to be spent, but it's completely planned to be spent. It's not like there's gonna be extra dollars that we need to figure out where to put.
There will be some extra money, I would say probably, hopefully, $150,000.
150K might be
We do kind of
unplanned.
have an idea for that, but it's,
Yeah, we've already purchased all of the rock for the chip sealing, so it's just a matter of the labor and getting the oil, which we'll have to get for the truck.
I don't think we have any of the finish layer, the
3/8 chip.
yeah, I think we still have to purchase that.
Okay.
The majority of the rock is already here, there's some across the street, some in the shop. And our plan is to just get a semi-trailer with tar in it, and you plug it in, it keeps it warm, and then on days when it rains, you do other stuff, on days when
Yeah.
it's.
You'd rent that, basically.
Yeah, and then we'll just download it into our tar truck, which is about 1,800 gallons, and just go out and do sections of roof.
Perfect. And then run the roll, compact it, and that's basically the chip sealing process. And then you do it 1, 2, 3 times, depending on the traffic of the road, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
But how much material do we have on hand? Or-
I don't know how to give you a tonnage estimate, but it's probably 3/4 of what we needed.
Is what?
It's probably 3/4 of what we needed to finish these projects.
We purchased 40 tons last fall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I saw some big piles of it.
Now, to answer your question, the budget process starts next month. So we're looking for what types of projects, et cetera, for the roads. See about getting them incorporated into the budget. By state law, the budget has to be approved by the end of June.
Okay.
And it goes through 3 readings. So the first draft will be coming up in April. But the process will start this month.
Mhm.
And you play a big part of drafting the budget, probably?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. And then, so if we have input, we need to get it emailed to you nowish.
It would be, yeah, as soon as you can.
Yeah.
Now,
So-
I'm trying to fit this, the grant now, is that above and beyond what
Yes,
we normally,
yes.
so how much money do we
Magnitudes.
usually, does the city use normally for road grading and stuff like that? You know, every time the road grader goes out, that's
Mhm.
money.
So in years past, I can't really say exactly what it's been. We did, just under $1 million, down $1 million for this last year to do some major projects. So it's probably a couple $100,000 on average, if not.
It's more like 700,000 or 800,000.
I don't think that's every year though, in years past. Brambleberg was done 2 years ago and that was $500,000 to do. So,
So that's most,
This year though, snow removal has been,
yeah,
It's been a different problem.
what, a third or a fourth of normal?
probably a quarter, yeah.
yeah.
So we
No.
have savings in,
Is that money saved then, or how, or is it like the government where you have to spend it and throw it away?
we don't throw stuff away. If we don't use it, it just goes back into the general fund. So we're lower on overtime, lower on fuel usage and machine hours.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess, so maybe I'll jump around a little bit in the agenda if it doesn't bug anybody. When we're talking about budget, item E under the build grant is the fact that we don't have a trailer capable of moving our roller. So that's directly related to budget. Maybe I could jump there. So you're probably looking at a tilt deck, double axle trailer. Do you have a rough cost in mind?
A new $25,000.
25K.
If we put that in budget, we obviously would look for a used one.
Yeah.
But 25,000 we need a new one.
How much does the roller weigh, do you know?
Don't know. Zach can tell you off the top of his head, but I don't know.
Okay.
And so, if there's 100 to 150K that could possibly, depending on how the year goes, be unplanned, would you spend that money on it, or would you be looking for that exclusively from next year's budget for the 25K for the trailer?
We would probably be looking for next year's budget because the chip seal project, what thoughts that Zach, our public works director, is if we did a maintenance later on Cedar Creek Drive there, that's just over a mile.
That'll take it.
That and Hillside Drive would take up the rest of the money. Now, there's some other things like if you look at Eastwood over here in this subdivision, that's the only road there that's not paved, and the reason they didn't chip seal that is because there was a water project that hadn't been completed. That was completed last year, and also the water project took out a Prater Drive over here, took the pavement off of there, and it was not part of the contract to put that back.
Gotcha.
We actually lost some ground last year.
So there's a real good chance that 100 to 150 is gonna go towards that kind of.
But not saying it has to. We could, the council could allocate that money for whatever.
Got it. Okay, understood. So kind of a process question. If we were to recommend, which I'll put my cards on the table, I recommend we buy that trailer. You can't move your roll around without it. It's highly critical. It's 100% needed from a safety perspective and from an efficiency perspective and the cost perspective of employees' time and fuel. I'm 100% on board with us spending that 25K, and that would be my recommendation right now is allocate 25, recommend an allocation of the purchase of the trailer, however we need to do it process-wise.
As of February 28th of this year, capital outlay, which is the pavement, road base, chip seal, etc., has a balance of $688,362.
Okay. So what, how do we need to, like I said, I'm new and I'm understanding the process. How do we formalize the fact that, do we ask for a vote from?
And you make recommendations
The board?
to the town council.
So let me ask the board, does anybody oppose the Roads Advisory Board making a recommendation to procure a trailer for roughly 25K out of next year's budget cycle?
So are you wanting to do that with the money we have for this year, or are you wanting just next year's?
I think your advice of next year sounds like the best way to go. It seems like you're not gonna have trouble spending this year's, but we would, we wouldn't care.
Well,
I think it's a critical piece of equipment. That's what I think.
okay.
Well, we need to know how much the roller weighs.
It's over 20,000 pounds. You're gonna need a double axle tilt trailer.
And it's gotta be a tilt trailer because you can't put it on with ramps. It's absolutely
No.
impossible. So it's gotta be a tilt trailer that you don't use for many other things.
Yeah, the only other thing, if we ever upgraded our excavator, it would be, the trailer would be sufficient to haul that around. But that's not a trailer, I mean, you need a dump truck to pull that. It's,
The
with that,
dump
with
truck
the-
can pull it then.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
dump truck can pull it. I mean, your dump truck can pull a trailer with your motor grader probably at slow speeds around here. But, so the dump truck can pull almost, the dump truck could probably pull any piece of equipment you have.
Yeah.
Especially the four-wheel drive one.
Yeah.
I'll text Zach and see if he can tell me exactly how much it weighs, but it's over 20,000 pounds.
Well, you'll need some good tie downs too, because
Yeah.
I would
operating
suggest
on
that you could probably use a tilt trailer for a lot of other things. You may not know right now what you want, and you know what you want to use it for, but if you had it,
Yeah.
you could use it for a lot of other things.
Sure.
So it sounds like everybody here is in approval of that, of the trailer? Lee, it sounds like you are?
I am, yes.
Okay.
Something that has to happen.
Yeah.
One way or another.
Efficiency, safety, time, fuel, everything.
And keeping,
Okay. Does anybody else have any items we want to talk about on agenda item 4, town budget updates, before I move on?
I'll just throw this out there for you guys to consider. It depends on what city you're in. If you're in Jackson, I mean, the town council wants to approve every inch of everything they do, which can cause some kind of operational issues.
Right.
We have Silver Star working in here. They've done damage. We're trying to get them to recompact some areas. But I'm not quite sure what's gonna happen road-wise or how much money's gonna be left over. So it's always helpful when we dedicate X amount of money to road improvements, and it's easier operationally to work it that way, yeah.
We always, every project we always have a contingency fund of a small amount of money. So what would you ask from us? What would we do?
Well, if this board can help us identify, what I understand is you're gonna look at what roads are arterial and what ones are, support roads, and if you make
Yeah.
recommendations, then I don't get accused of doing something for my friends or whatever.
Oh, I
Because
see.
I don't have any friends, so it's not a problem.
Well, that was one of the topics I was gonna bring up in kind of the build grant prioritization of roads portion. Okay, so let's move on, if it's okay with everyone, to the status of the build.
I got it. Can somebody supply me and what has happened in the past as far as the budget? And the costs.
So our current budget is on the website, but is there something specific, like what can I?
Okay, I can go on the website and see what has happened, okay.
Yeah, and we do have an accounting for our chip seal projects, and where the money was spent on each section of it for this year.
Okay.
Okay. All right, let's go on to the status of the build grant. So I don't know much about the status other than it's been applied for. Do we need to say anything other than that and what we briefed on roughly amounts and the timeframes for which we may or may not be notified of its success? Is there any other status?
yeah, we got some really good letters of support, including the YDOT District 3 General Manager and the General Manager of YDOT,
Great.
and some legislative support. Senator Doc Stetler, and who else came in?
Scott Heiner at the state level. We also had Senator Brasso and Harry Hegman, both reached out for us there.
That's great.
Appreciate the two of you.
Cross your fingers.
So we did have excellent support, and just to point out, the build grant is a reimbursement grant, and we asked for the funds to be available for roughly 10 years, so we have time, but if we do a project, we submit the costs for reimbursement.
Do you have a rough idea how much of the work on the build grant would you like to do with your in-house road crew versus contracting out?
So everything that's 15% or more will need to asphalt, and we'll contract that out, and we can do the prep work.
15% grade, just
Yeah.
for everybody's clarity.
Yes. So anything asphalt we'll contract out, but all the chip seal stuff we'll do in-house.
Do in-house. So it's probably 75-80% in-house maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. That's a huge savings to the town. That gets more bang for the buck.
And
Okay.
asphalt was it's over $1 million a mile, and we just can't afford that.
Okay, so that's a great update on the bill grant. Going into item A, sub-item A, on the criteria in which roads should be paved or chip sealed, and the possible development of a planning document for road surfacing, whether it be chip seals or asphalt pavement. I can start there if that's okay with everybody. I've got some ideas, so I want to preface this by saying that I'm obviously new, and I'm always cautious coming into a new group and coming into the town and saying, this is how you should prioritize your roads, and this is what I've done in the past, and you need to do this. So I want to kind of preface it by saying that I've got some ideas of what I've seen work really well in the past, and maybe some of them will work for the town, and maybe some of them won't. So I think that the town should be very willing to say, look, that's just not going to work for us, and that's not going to hurt any of our feelings. So if I suggest something that in my experience might seem like a good idea and you say no, that's not going to hurt anybody's feelings. I want this to be an open, two-way conversation, and I don't want to start changing things in a way that doesn't work for the town, or it's not like we have the power to change things anyway. I don't want to propose something that's not logical from everybody else's experience. So one of the things that I look at for prioritizing roads is a lot of times we break it up into 3 separate groups. And starting with the highest traffic roads, we call those arterial roads. And an arterial road is going to be a main entrance to the town, your school bus routes, your routes to major businesses, buildings like this that have to be open for hours, for public service and everything else. Anything that's an exit to the town, but there's discretion in there. They can designate anything they want as an arterial route. Then skipping the middle group and going to the last group, you come up with what's called a local route. And a local route is quite simply defined as anything that dead ends. It's local traffic only. The middle route is then called a collector route, and usually those are routes that connect your arterial routes to your local routes. So it can be really, really quickly using GIS or your geographic information system, you can quickly and easily divide all your town roads into 3 categories. And then you go through with a fine-tooth comb, and the 10% or so of roads that need to be adjusted into a different category, you do so. Then you've got 3 clearly identified traffic service levels of routes, your arterial, your collector, and your local roads in that level of importance. And maybe that would be a tool that the town could use. That was the first thing that came to my mind when I saw this as an agenda item.
Sounds like it works to me.
Lee, comment?
Well, and then you're gonna have the squeaking wheels too. You know?
I think this is a tool that allows us to make justifications to people of why we make
Yeah.
the decisions we do, of
Yeah,
where
you're on a dead end road here, you know, you don't get much traffic, so you have to wait.
Zach just texted me back that roller weighs about 22,000 pounds.
So it's a good size trailer.
Yeah.
So in terms of arterial roads, ideas or suggestions?
I mean, anything
Well-
that major exits to the town would be where I would start. Anything that you've identified as a school bus route in your highest priority plowing routes, serving businesses, vistas
So-
come to mind, of course.
If I was gonna jump in and say your arterial roads, I would say Vista, Cedar Creek, Hardman, Vista East, Vista West, Forest, North Forest. And what's the one that comes out of the upper half of the north end? I'm looking at it, it's right there on the map. Comes off of Money Stream and goes up.
Alpine Glow, no, that's for Snow Forest, no.
So, one right here. Alpenglow, yeah.
Yeah,
Alpenglow.
because that services the whole upper side. Choke Cherry is one, but it's already chip sealed. And the next one up is paved up the,
And even if it's paved, we can still identify it as an arterial road for future planning
yeah,
purposes.
I mean, it's paved on the 15% grade piece.
Oh, not all of it.
No.
What was it? So you said choke cherry, then what was the other one you said?
Oh, come on, what was the other one? It's Birch, and then Birch goes into Dogwood.
Birch and Dogwood?
Birch is a short piece, and then the major intersection is Dogwood, which goes the whole northern
Okay.
section.
And while Vista Drive has got a chunk in the middle that's bad, but then the rest of it is, you know, like.
Yeah, it's good.
So,
Now, the chunk in the middle is one of the first ones that's gonna get fixed in the
yeah,
spring.
yeah, it's got potholes in it. That deep.
So that's a great list moving forward for arterial roads, and then the collectors and locals tend to kind of iron themselves out a little bit. So I could work with the list in a map to try to identify and take a first crack at putting all the roads into one group or another.
Let me throw it back out to the committee. Lee, you're being quiet. Is that making any sense?
I'm just listening, but I think it's already been done. Didn't Ferguson give us I mean, it's kind of old, but it was like the priority list for roads, and it was more or less based on traffic levels, and then, well, I got it right in front of me, what was all the criteria?
Yeah. Well, that was in the road study.
Yeah, they had it pretty well figured out as to what, you know, what roads should be prioritized for chip seal or asphalt, but I think at the time it was asphalt. And we decided chip seal was more economical and it would work to get us, you know, roads paved quicker, so.
Okay. I have a question for you, Trevor. Hardman, where Eville tore to shreds, are they gonna fix that, or are we gonna have to play with that one?
They're not gonna fix it. The contractor had a 1-year warranty. That's gonna hold up. We can do a lot of plowing. It'll hold up until August when the year's over. But that is not gonna hold up long-term, in my opinion. We'll get to look at it, but the way they did the seam, it's not as thick as asphalt as I think it should have been. So we're gonna have to do a maintenance layer or something on there.
Okay, now are we still holding the 80,000 on the last payment?
We're not. I couldn't, based on what Ryan, our engineer, said, that they had done a job and they said it was good enough, and if it failed, then we could hold an account then, but we couldn't hold on to the payment.
You wanna go look at that one?
I'm not familiar, so I can take a look.
Hardman, south of Middle Branch. They tore up half the road, and then it was not pretty what they did.
Yeah, did a patch with asphalt, but there were big sections out of it, dirt. We complained, the came in, just kind of dumped some asphalt in little sections. The seam is not very well blended. And the edge, the east edge of the road is thin.
Okay, I can take a look.
They also did a similar job on Ridgecrest.
So we need to pick out about 4 or 5 color codes and do a map of the whole town with, you know, if it's done, you got one color. If it's, you know, important and it's artery, then it's maybe red or blue or something, and then just color the whole town.
Yeah,
And that'd be something to work off of.
Most of the roads south of Vista there's some level of payment on, right?
Yeah, except for Porto, Hardman, Middle Branch, some of the cul-de-sacs there.
Okay.
And Hardman is
To bring
kind
you
of
up
like
to speed.
the second exit out of town, really, as far as importance.
Yeah, they messed it up bad.
okay. So what would the next step be moving forward for what would the town like to see from us? What can we provide? How can we work together and do this?
Identifying the roads is a big deal. And we, obviously, we're not gonna get the roads all paved in a year. So what we plan to do is to purchase additional dust guard, and if you have additional recommendations on how we can stabilize some of our areas with the worst drainage and pothole issues. So that we do.
Hey, is there any updated traffic counts on these roads? I mean, I don't know what equipment you need to do a traffic count, but I think it's pretty simple stuff.
20,
Hold across the road or something.
the update to the traffic study was done in what, 2022? That's the most recent one. And you should have that. We sent that one out.
That's actually on the city's website, if you look deep enough, you can find that. But an updated one would be really helpful.
We probably don't own any traffic counters,
No.
and I don't know if we have interest in buying them and moving them around or not. You can buy electronic ones now that you don't have to put a line across the road, but they're pricey and somebody's gotta go out and pull the data constantly, and then somebody's gotta tabulate the data. And then sometimes is the juice worth the squeeze based on the data we get?
Yeah.
How much has it changed? Maybe, is the question, I don't know.
I don't know that it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
Traffic goes up and down drastically, you know.
Summer versus winter.
Summer to winter.
And that's all contingent upon how much building has been in certain areas, so,
Yeah,
or building is going on in certain areas, because that requires a lot of construction type vehicles when they're building, so.
Well, that kind of leads us I guess maybe before I move on, I guess I didn't come to really a resolution of how to move forward on the prioritization part. We talked about traffic counts, and then we talked about kind of getting a map and using an electronic exercise of prioritizing. What would work?
I'm open to whatever you want.
Do we have our town, that looks like a GIS map right there. We
Yep.
have our town in ArcGIS online.
Yeah.
And we could sit down and pretty quickly and easily start making it work. The question is how would we do it, and is that what we want to do? Do we really want those three categories? I don't know that. Like I said, I don't want to come changing stuff up in a way that's not efficient and beneficial.
Well, I haven't been here that long, coming up on 2 years, but it's just been my experience when we do traffic counts and things, people just argue about the data and don't actually use it for anything.
Right.
Because the argument is, well, you did it in June, you should have done it in July. Well, August is busier. So I've never seen actual traffic data used for anything useful in my career. Not to say we couldn't do that with this group, but if we're gonna put a lot of time and money into something, I'd rather fix some things rather than get data for us to argue about, but that's just my opinion there. We also have the same issue with how our forestry is kind of prioritized the roads. People want to argue about that still, of course. So,
Well, from my perspective, I think your three categories are an excellent starting point.
yeah, it makes sense.
Okay.
get to, you know. well,
More than
every
three
meeting,
becomes cumbersome,
You'd want to,
and if you only have two, it's high and low doesn't work.
and then, because, yeah, I think making a traffic count is very dubious, you know, as far as the season and the slope of the road is gonna decide how much it deteriorates and how much rain we get.
Right, right.
You have to kind of maybe grade observe roads, I'm sure we'll hear about it if something's going bad, won't we?
Oh, yeah.
You get the phone calls.
He keeps smiling over there like he's got something,
I think that's a good way to go.
So do you need action from us?
The action would
ideas
be
that
to,
maybe we don't know about. What's
I
gonna,
would suggest that the action from the committee would be to identify the arterial roads first.
I think we've got a starting list here, right?
yeah,
Does anybody on the committee, let me read out what we have for the proposed arterial roads, see if anybody on the committee opposes it. We've got Vista, Vista East, Vista West, Cedar Creek, Hardman, North Forest, Alpenglow, Chokecherry, Birch, and Dogwood. Anybody have any additions or recommended removals? Okay.
The only other one could be Cedar that comes when you get to the top of North Forest, because everybody takes that shortcut to get to, down to the valley. So Cedar is at the top.
Yeah, there's a gap between Cedar and North Forest.
Yeah.
So we should add Cedar.
Add Cedar to the North Forest, because that's the main grind.
Yeah, but you're gonna have a piece in the middle of that that's gonna stay dirt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wickles.
Yep, Wickles property.
Well, I actually don't know if that's true, because we did find an agreement we have, and it may be in our best interest to pave that, just for
Okay.
fire egress.
Yeah. If you
And
can.
that's new info, okay.
And I think he'd be willing to,
Yep, he's,
he'd be
Yeah.
fine with it.
he's more than willing to let us do whatever we'd like there.
Yeah.
Well, great.
Okay, I stand corrected.
Well, great. There's our initial cut at arterial roads.
Yeah, now that'll take off the whole north end of that one. Yeah, okay. You know where he's talking about?
Vaguely.
well, part of the arterial roads are already done too, so.
Yeah.
See, that'll bring this one down
We
this
need-
way, through here, and all the way down.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I know right where that is. I'm on Blackwood, so kind of close to that. Okay. If we can somehow assist, whether it be sitting down in a meeting or working on ArcGIS, I work with ArcGIS way more frequently than I would like to. If we can help, building maps, anything we can help with, let us know. We'll help. Okay, I'll move on to point B, on dust mitigation policy and plan for all dirt roads. And that, our guest who's joined us remotely may want to start us out. Would you like to take the floor on this one?
Or, some digging with the Wyoming DEQ and their best practices for gravel roads, and they kind of list them in a way that I prioritize paving. That's the most expensive, and then they work their way down from there, and of course it's the mag chloride chemicals and all that stuff. But it gets really cheap when you get down to what they recommend for speeds on gravel roads. So I know that Vista West is 20, I think it's 25 miles an hour, but that was when it used to be a road that was partially paved. It was paved, but it had a lot of potholes in it. I think that kept people driving too fast anyway. Last summer and the summer before, it really, I lived in a cloud of dust. That's how bad it is. And I know nobody wants to do that, but if you could lower the speed limit down to 10 or 15 miles an hour from 25, it would help a lot and not cost a lot of money. That's one of my suggestions.
So I can speak a little bit to that, or you can if you'd like.
You can go ahead and go first.
Okay. So my experience working for federal land management agencies has been that a lot of times we have very little law enforcement support. Like for example, here on the Bridger Teton National Forest, 3.5 million acres, and we had like 4 LEOs. So their advice was frequently that if you can't enforce a speed limit, don't post it. And posting things less than 25 miles an hour gets to be really problematic from a legal perspective for a lot of different reasons. It's really easy for the general public, whether they're recreating public or whether they're residents, to understand that the speed limit is 25 miles an hour throughout the entire town. And it actually does negate posting. In many cases, you can post entrance signs that say speed limit's 25 through the whole town instead of trying to post it higher and smaller, which can add a lot of confusion. And maybe you probably know way more about this than me, but that's been my experience, that if you can't enforce it, don't post it.
Yeah.
If you can't encourage the public to do it for safety reasons, it can be difficult.
Yeah, well, we already have a problem. The day we finished the chip seal layer on Vista, here we had people going over 50 miles an hour.
50.
So
Yeah.
the problem is we don't have our own police department, we don't
Yeah.
have any enforcement action, and the sheriff's office is gonna be very reluctant to enforce a 10 or 15 mile an hour speed limit. And I can tell you, given my prior career in Jackson, there was a similar road, Cache Creek, it goes to dirt. They wanted to do this, they dropped it to 15, and the only people I ever stopped there were people that lived on that road. It was never the tourists or anything like that, and those people were very upset, like, I'm the guy that came to council meetings and threw a fit. Well, you're the guy that was going 50 miles an hour, there's a citation.
Yeah.
So I think we'll have very minimal success dropping the speed limit, and it will just frustrate us even more.
And if people won't make people tend to not obey it.
Well, I
There
agree
there
with
is
that.
an electronic sign on there, and I know it's capable of taking pictures too, so I don't think it has a camera in it, but a
That's,
possibility, you just take pictures of cars and license plates and
that was
send out
found out.
warnings or whatever, you know?
So we're not able to enforce that, we don't have a police department, and that has been deemed to be not constitutional in the state of Wyoming to do a photocop type ticket.
Problem is you're ticketing a car and not a driver, and it goes out the window. Flip it a little bit. Since the dust mitigation is part of the prep work for the road base prior to the chip seal, et cetera, I guess my question would be, what is the best dust mitigation that we can use that will prepare the base for chip seal, and how often should it go down?
You probably can answer that question better than I
I mean, do you use any, you can use magnesium chloride, or you can look at calcium chloride. Realistically, calcium chloride, the places that use calcium chloride, the only time that calcium chloride makes an economic benefit is when you use it for snow and ice removal and for dust mitigation. When you're doing dust mitigation only, like I believe we are, magnesium chloride is by far the most economical choice and the most environmentally friendly. Calcium chloride has more significant effects on neighboring vegetation on the roads. And we don't have a lot of space on our roads before people's yards start. So I think that's something we have to be cautious about with dust mitigation, is not ruining people's plants and trees and vegetation. And magnesium chloride is the product for that, in my opinion.
Are they both, which one causes the most corrosion on?
Calcium chloride.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Calcium chloride
I've
is
seen
more
that,
corrosive.
yeah, that's-
Magnesium chloride is the way to go, in my opinion. It's cheap, readily available, economically available.
Yeah.
Lincoln and Sublette counties use a whole bunch of it. It's the way to go for me.
Yeah, and that's what we use is magnesium chloride. It does, there's some limitations to it. If it's a dry day, I haven't had rain in 30 days.
Yep.
You spread it out on the ground, it's almost worthless because it needs to suck moisture out of the ground to harden and keep the dust down. So if you have a really dry year, it doesn't do you a lot of good to spread it.
Very true.
Now, do we get a good mixture of road base stuff? It seems to hold up pretty good, but
Yeah, and just generally our plan this year, we tried this last year, but we're gonna contract out with another company as soon as it's dry here and have them bring in a grader And they'll work in one area when we take our grader in another area, and we'll try to rehab these roads as quickly as possible. That way, we're not doing all the work we need to do half the time. But how often to apply? I mean,
That's where the arterial collector and local comes into place. Like your arterial roads, you might try to do at least once a year, maybe twice. The other roads might get done on a revolving cycle. If you can get the mag deep into the road, if you can water the road, if you can blade the road, then you can mag it, and then you can compact it. You can get 2 years out of some of your lower traffic roads. Your higher traffic roads, you really need to do them once a year, and you could even consider a spring and a fall application on your highest traffic arterial roads.
okay.
What have you been doing once a year on your highest traffic roads?
We try to do more than that, but it just depends.
It's
Last
so
year-
weather dependent too.
Yeah.
It can be, you can get everything ready and then it can be huge, kind of almost a waste of money if you get a weird weather window, but twice a year, more than twice a year won't help any road around here ever, I don't think. Twice a year on your highest traffic roads, if you do once a year on your next list, and then you can go to once every 2 years and then once every 3 years on your lowest traffic roads. Especially if you get a really good application. The key, I learned this from a guy named Craig who owns Dustbusters, is where everybody gets their magnesium chloride, and I convinced him that he needed to get me up to speed on it, so I bought him a long lunch in Alpine, and he spent 2 hours imparting wisdom upon me of a guy who's been doing it more years than I've been alive. He said the key is getting it deep into the road, and that comes only from giving the road the appropriate moisture content before and after application, and compaction is key. That drives it deeper into the road and makes it last longer.
Okay.
I agree.
Make sense?
The ground here is really stable compared to, I came from North Dakota where the ground moves every year, sometimes feet. That's from clay, and it gets wet, swells up.
Yeah. Okay. Closely related to dust mitigation is water runoff mitigation and drainage plan for roads as surface. That's probably a real similar topic and pretty related to what we just talked about, kind of prioritizing the areas, looking at the high slope areas. And the better maintained a road is, the less you have to worry about dust control and water mitigation. So I think they all kind of go hand in hand. I don't know if we need any kind of an action on water runoff.
Well, now, some roads in the town have had French drains put in an attempt to control some of the running down the edges. I'm not sure that worked.
Yeah, we have a lot of challenges there where there's not
Ditch.
really turn out the water. I mean, in like Vista West, you got some pretty steep grades, and then time it rains, it just comes right down the road and tears up the edges. We turn it out here, it's going through somebody's property.
Yeah, yep. Because there's no ditch to get into a downhill portion to take it wherever.
So that's a challenge.
You have to get a contour
Crown.
work up of that area and see what's possible, as far as the grades and the tilt of the road and where it's gonna go.
Yeah, it's hard on Vista West is a good example where it's difficult because our roads are so dicey in the winter that the more you crown a road, the more likely it is people start sliding off the road. So you can't have excessive crown. You want 1.5% crown or something like that, which is great. But then again, the water does have to go somewhere, and every time you hit somebody's driveway, unless you put a culvert underneath every driveway or get the water off to, most of our roads have driveways and access on both sides, so you can't get it necessarily off to the side without, like you say, putting it on private people's property. I don't know what the answer is to that. You know, crown the roads as best we can. We don't have room to put ditches in. We don't have the easements. We don't have the room to put like a lot of times a road will have a 24-foot width of a road, and then it'll have 8-foot ditches on each side, and there's just a 0% chance we could ever do that with the majority of our roads.
Yeah.
It's Texas and Florida.
Yeah. Okay. kind of moving on, cost and budget items for the next 10 years, if we get the grant and if we don't get the grant. That's a good question. Maybe I can open that up to the group and we can kind of talk about, we've done
You may want to just start people thinking about that, because I'm not sure we want to spend a lot of time on one or the other.
until we get it. That's kind of what I was hoping we'd say, yeah. So taking our first crack at the arterial roads, I think is a good step in the right direction for prioritizing either way. It's just a question of how much money and how much maintenance will we be able to put in the roads. I think prioritizing our roads is number one, whether we get the grant or not,
Yeah. Yeah,
I guess,
I agree.
if we're moving forward. Okay. Let's see, potential equipment. This is a great question maybe for you, is what other equipment, other than the trailer that we highly recommend, what other equipment would you look at?
Are you talking about just specific paving or just in general?
I think in general.
So we do have a few water lines, and we had one last year that was pretty problematic to dig down to. We actually had to, after digging for 2 days, had to have a contractor come in to do it. We do have some that are over 14 feet deep.
Yeah.
We don't have the equipment to dig those. We installed about 40-meter pits last year, and this year's probably gonna be the same, and that's gonna be challenging with the 306. Smaller equipment takes quite a lot of time.
Medium excavator.
Yeah, so something a little bigger there would be a big deal. And in the future, we do have a delivery line, Prater Canyon delivery line coming out of our spring down to our Prater tanks is set to be replaced. We're working on budgets and our engineers planning that out right now. So being able to do some of that work in-house would also be a consideration if we had bigger equipment.
150, 200K?
Yeah, we got a 310. I can't remember the numbers on it, but I think it was around 250.
250, yeah.
And that
So
tilt trailer would be able to haul that piece of equipment as well.
Yeah.
So I can't remember if they offered us 93,000 for our 306 in trade, but
How many hours a year would you use something
quite a lot. Quite a few hours on that. 40-meter pits a year and all the. We don't have a water project this year, but we do quite a bit of digging here.
what do they charge to rent one?
$1,200 a week or more.
I don't even know.
It might even be, I think we end up paying over $1,000 to have someone with an operator for a day and a half. So I'm pretty sure it'd be $1,200 more for a week, which is what we need to do if we plan it. But if you have an emergency or
Yeah.
whoever's available, you gotta shut off the water and wait till somebody gets here if it's one of those deep digs.
Yeah. Seems like the trailer would obviously be number one, and that would be a really close second for what do you call your budget from July to June? So July to June do you call that fiscal year
Yeah.
27?
Yeah.
Coming up, we'd be starting fiscal year 27.
Yeah.
So that'd be a fiscal year 27 possibility for the budget would be upgrading the Mini X to more what I would call a medium-sized excavator. I would be in favor of that, especially, I think that anytime you get a big influx of money like the build grant, it seems great that you're getting this big plug of money, but it taxes every employee a little bit more. No matter how peripherally they're connected to the project, it taxes everybody and pulls everybody a little bit different ways. So having the right equipment to do it, I think would be a huge benefit, especially if you get that build grant. Having that much work going on in the town is always a big deal. Everybody's gonna be a little bit busier. I would certainly be in favor. Any other comments from the group on the possibility of looking at that for a fiscal year 27 addition to the budget for an upgrade to the excavator from existing mini excavator to a more medium-sized excavator?
No objection.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. The more equipment you can have, the fees that contractors charge are high, and the time that it takes to get somebody quality with experience and equipment scheduled in here always takes forever, and the more stuff we can do in-house within reason, as long as, like you say, as long as you're using it enough hours that a rental isn't justified, I think seems like a really good idea to me.
And Zach just texted me that what they offered us after trading in our 306 is $165,000. That was last year, I don't know. We do, just so everyone's aware, we've had problems with our blower. It's way too big for the loaders we have, and we're working with Cat right now to see if we can somehow get out of that lease or if we can trade that in for something else. So.
Is that Western States out of Jackson, I bet?
Yeah, they're out of, I think we're dealing with them out of Falls, but.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Well, yeah, the big cat operations down in Pocatello.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's one thing that we're gonna look at, because you never win if you buy a big piece of equipment, it doesn't work out. They get you, but they were here yesterday, I think, and we talked about, hey, if we were looking at the 310, what would you give us on trade to get,
Yeah.
so take a look at it and see, but.
Okay. All right, unless there's any other comments from the group, I'm gonna move on to kind of our last agenda item at least, and that's the lot. Plat 22, lot 37, suggestions on what to do with it. I'm not super familiar with the history. I've gotten a little bit of information from you, sir, on that. Options are attempt to sell the lot or turn it into a parking lot for Prairie Canyon Trails and a northern staging area or workshop area for Public Works. The lot, for people that aren't familiar, the lot's in kind of an awkward place, to say the least, with the way that the boundaries and the roads routed. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I think that, in my opinion, the amount of money the town would recoup from sale of the lot might be difficult to say it was worth it. I think that the benefits it might provide for parking and a staging area might be really huge, and it's a long ways from any other area that's similar where they can utilize that space. Thoughts?
If we get this grant, that would be a crucial location for efficiency and everything.
Yeah.
To have a lay down yard to work, put rock and work out of. Because if you're doing everything from the shop down here, you're going a mile up to even where you're starting.
And on heavy equipment, that takes 45 minutes sometimes. I mean,
Yeah.
loading up trailers, everything else, and safety.
There's a lot of potentials for it too. I mean, if we ever had a problem with a well and had to punch another well, it's a potential site.
That's a really interesting point. I didn't think about that.
So I know there's some residents there that feel like they get extra dust and things, but I don't think they realize you would get top priority service if that's where your yard is.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think the town will likely purchase another lot in the future for something, so I would really hate to see that go,
Yeah.
because it has so many potential uses.
So anything from any other members of the board? I guess I
I'm
would.
not sure where that is located, but is that the one that they had trouble with the road, right away and stuff?
Yep.
And they figured the best way to get around the right of way stuff was just to purchase the lots, right?
Yep, it is. It would have been about $750,000 to move the water lines and everything,
And the
or
lot was
$100,000 to purchase the lot, so at that point, it was a math problem.
So I guess I would propose that the Roads Advisory Board recommend the town keep it for the purposes we just discussed.
Agree on for that, make
Okay.
it a
Great.
use for the town somehow.
Well, that's our recommendation. Okay. That's our last agenda topic. Do we, generally speaking, open it up for
Can't be honest, go
questions?
for it.
Okay. So that's our last agenda topic. We've got some members of the public and other members of the town in here. We'd be happy to open it up for comments or questions or anything else that you'd like.
We were interested in Vista East when we bought our house that had blacktop, and then we dug it all up, and it's been a nightmare. My son's handicapped, he rides a adaptive sports trike, he can't even get out on the roads. So I heard you mentioning that, but I'm not sure if you'll allocating the blacktop on it. And that-
Yeah,
Because it was there when we bought the house and it wasn't our choice even.
yeah, there are sections
dug up.
of it. There are sections of Vista East that will have to be blacktop. There's no way around it.
Yeah. Quite a lot of it, actually.
That would be for the build grant, that would, hopefully we get that build grant,
Okay.
and then that would,
And one day maybe a pedestrian walkway at least on Vista.
on the main vista. I wonder about easements and private property would be my first question.
So what
You
we
do
have,
have a little easement all the way round.
yeah, what we have planned for Vista, we did it wide enough, I think it's 36 feet, and a typical road's 24. It will have a bicycle lane.
Oh,
And the difference there is, it's kind of technical, but if you look out here just across the street, this is a pedestrian walkway. You have to have a separation between.
Delineation.
We didn't have enough room or the ability to put a separation there.
Yeah,
Like that.
there's three classifications. Class 1 is just a stripe down the side of the road where the
Yeah.
bicycle lane is. Class 2 is it's separated from the road. Class 3 has a barrier between the separation. So,
I walk dogs a lot and it's amazing how busy it's got. It's with a lot of people. If there even was a separation line would really help.
Yeah, so we intend to do that once we do, we've got one layer down, and we'll do 2 more layers this spring, and then we can strike through.
I'm not sure you can get a separation up there though.
No,
Just a line,
yeah, just for bicycles.
Just a class 1.
just a white,
Yeah.
Single strip
line
on-
would help.
on one side, or would there be a delineation
It'd be on one, it would be
On one
on
side.
the north side.
on the north side? That was gonna be my next question, which side? Okay. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
I think that was my main things.
We appreciate the comments.
Yeah.
As far as the dust mitigation, when we first bought that, we bought it in 2017. We used to go out on the deck, have a little dinner at night, and her son that has the MS can't even sit out there because of the breath. He can't, and so if it, I don't know when the paving thing might come about, but in the meantime, the dust mitigation is really important.
Dust is an issue.
Anybody?
Thank you for your interest.
Well,
We appreciate-
in addition to that, because if the grant money comes through, having a prioritized list of, because again, that's gonna take asphalt in the steep areas, the rest of it's gonna be chip seal, and then, for the steep areas, it's gonna be asphalt. Have we identified, Trevor, a timing of those roads?
That's part of what this group is going to.
So that's what you need to do, is prioritize those, because again, Vista East, Vista West, those are heavy traffic area roads. We get it. So, hopefully, ma'am and sir, we can see, keep your fingers crossed that we can get that grant money. And the 4 million will help us be able to do all of those things.
Yeah.
In a fairly quick, much faster than we could ever save money and do it ourselves.
Yes.
So, hopefully it'll be soon.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, yeah. We used to live
You know,
on the
where-
North 40. And so we purposely bought a house on the blacktop. Or a side.
Well, this is our chance to get it, so let's hope it happens.
Okay? Yes, sir.
With spring here for the last week and continuing, and a mild winter, if we want to call it a winter,
Not existing here, Tony.
there are a lot of intersections that repeatedly, Eastman and Cedar, Hardman and Last Chance, they are just war zones. And I know they're filled, but that's just 2. But they're ongoing. Is there a way for those intersections, instead of chip seal, extended to blacktop, so you don't constantly have those car problems, whether it be tires or bottoming them out? Or when will they be addressed? Because right now it's springtime, people are going into the opposite lane to avoid it.
Yep.
And if you're on a bicycle or if you're on walking, you're gonna be the attachment to the front bumper. And just a question, that's for you and your committee. And just like Wade just mentioned, it would be nice to know, more than membership, know Vista East and West will be first, Cedar is second.
Okay.
Hardman, you're absolutely right, it's not that bad, but
It's not-
there are others, the Dust Bowl of Vista East and West. I think people ask the question to the wrong people, and I think if, my answer would be, I don't know, if you and your committee can say, we'd like to, I think what you've been talking about is outstanding.
Class
I
5
would
roads.
just honestly hope, when you bring this to council, they listen to you and your proposals. Because I've been here for 6 years and I'm loving what I'm hearing now. So thank you, but I'd just like to know what you prioritize, whether it's a grant or not. Let them know that you have 100,000 and where you would like to go with it. I think people would love to know.
So if we spend 600,000 on chip seal, if we don't get the grant, what does that look like? And if we can communicate that to the people, Trevor will take a whole lot less calls and everybody else will. Now, it doesn't have to be set in stone, but it's a roadmap for everybody to say, oh, here's the plan. And then, oh, okay, I can wait another year.
Yeah.
Right? It will just answer a lot of people's questions.
Well, I think developing a color-coded map of prioritizations based on the 3 criteria that I outlined earlier, I don't think anybody was opposed to it, so I would love to proceed in that manner. Get a list, and then within those arterial, collector, and local roads, we'll have subcategories of prioritization without necessarily concrete dates, but we'll at least have a list, like you say. That'd be my goal. I would love to see that. I'll work with the town however I possibly can to make it happen.
Thank you.
I think it's an ArcGIS exercise next, in my opinion.
And so what Zach's working on as far as the real bad sections, like if you turn off of Vista onto Vista East, that section got hit by Avail doing the HOA stuff, it got hit by the stewards doing their stuff, it got hit by us to do some meter pits as well as Silver Star. So that's the worst section of the road, but Zach's looking at road fabric, so you dig out 8 inches of road, put fabric in there, pack it back to road base. It's not a permanent solution, but it should take care of the mortar field down there for a while. So that's what we're working on there for the worst sections. But it's a drainage issue, you know, you get water that just tears up the road, so. Yep.
So when you had mentioned earlier that Silver Star is going to come out and work on some of the areas that are tending to sink a little bit, and are they going to have the same prioritization on the streets, or are you going to send them different ways?
So I've made some pretty direct complaints about we're very dissatisfied. I'm very direct with them that, hey, you guys did a crappy job here.
Like all we do. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. And we will not budge 1 inch. I told them I'm not doing anything this year. We worked with them last year and I said, absolutely not. We're doing what we're doing this year and we're not delaying 1 minute for any project you have going on. So they can work around us, we're not gonna work around them.
Yeah, if you go back and look at the town council meeting about 2 meetings ago, I asked Silver Star specifically, 2 or 3, specifically how they're gonna go across the roads in the future. And they are on videotape saying they're gonna drill underneath the roads, so we won't have the trenches anymore. It'd be interesting to see if they stick with that.
Well,
They're gonna,
they're gonna have to, mostly, because a lot of us could be down in Plat 21 chip sealed.
Yeah, but I'm talking about up on the north end where it's still dirt.
Well, we'll
It's
see.
gonna be interesting, because
Yeah.
that was specifically where I questioned him.
It's gonna,
Dips, not speed bumps, good speed dips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's gonna be interesting too, especially with boring, because one of the contractors that came to my road to bore, I've known for a while, and I came out and talked to him and said, why would they mark this spot for boring and not this spot over here? And he kind of said, I have no idea. They tried for 10 seconds to bore in the spot, and they hit so many rocks, they just couldn't do it. So I think they're gonna run into a lot of problems with
Well, they
horizontal
will.
boring in our particular rocky
They
environment.
will.
Horizontal boring's hard, and then they're gonna have to come up with contingencies. It's gonna be
Yep,
tricky.
that's why I tricked him. No.
Yeah. We'll see what they do. I'm curious.
Another thing we need to coordinate here is, do we have roads that are going to be dug up for water? That we surely don't want to do that.
So that's what gets interesting, because we did 40 meter pit installs last year, and we're expecting to do probably 30, 40 this year. So if we chip seal the road and water lines on the east side, and somebody builds a house on the west side, you have to trench across that road. We don't have any boring equipment. So we had a trailer that was sitting out, I don't know where we got it donated from, I think it was HK, but we have a 250 gallon trailer with a motor on it to take tar, so we can use that to, when we do that kind of stuff, we can pack the trench back, and then we can get chips and spread the tar out there and repair that section of the road. But it is a concern.
But in terms of the major tearing up the whole road to put pipes in, the infrastructure's in.
Yeah. We have all new water distribution lines within the town now.
It'll be emergencies and additions only, hopefully.
As far as the Wi-Fi system, is that done, or what's going on there?
Silver Star's working on doing the section that we're east of Butte and west is this year, and then probably Plat 4 and 5. And I don't know what else they have, Hardman area.
See, I think that's a mistake,
How come?
because everything's gonna come from satellite.
Oh,
Uh,
I thought you were saying which
Actually-
which roads they're using. I see what you're saying.
Actually,
yeah.
having checked Starlink and versus Silver Star, it's the same cost between the two of them, except Starlink, once they get their 5G up, will be 3 times faster.
So that's not my
That's-
area of expertise there.
That's Silver Star question.
I went after both of them, because I was gonna switch to Starlink.
My
I can tell you, I've got Starlink. I don't
My
know, but I can't
computer's
have it.
already faster than what I can think anyways.
Okay, that's kind of the end of our agenda items, and unless any more kind of final comments, questions, or anything else from anybody, we'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Anybody second?
Now, before we adjourn, did we have any voting things to do, or do we not have a quorum?
We do have a quorum.
And you actually did end up voting when Mike was asking for objections. So he got votes from both of the members.
Maybe I should make that more clear. Maybe I should make that more clear. That's my lack of experience with some of the rules of the meeting is, so we voted to propose to the town the purchase of roughly $25,000 trailer for the roller. And then we also voted as a second budgetary item to propose to the town the trade of the Mini X and purchase of a new medium-sized excavator if the budget allows for fiscal year 27's budget. Those are the only two things. Am I correct?
In your classifications of roads.
Oh, classifications of the roads. Okay, so that is something we would vote on. Okay, good.
And-
Okay.
And you did vote on that one.
Okay,
And then the other one you dealt with was on
Oh, yes, the lot, we did have that covered as well. So I need to do a better job of clarifying when we're making a voting type decision. I don't have a ton of experience with committees like this. I'll do better at the next meeting. So we voted on 4 things. We voted on 2 financial proposals to the town. We voted to propose to keep the lot in the town's, keep the lot, plat 22, lot 37 in the possession of the town. And we voted to look at prioritization of the roads through 3 criterias of arterial, collector, and local route. And the build and development of a map that shows those roads prioritized. So those are the kind of decision-making items that we covered today. Okay, so we'll readdress the
In
motion.
that case, I will second the motion to adjourn then.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, meeting